Hello.
Hey,
How are you doing?
yeah, I'm doing pretty good.
That's good. Yeah. Sorry, I just turned my computer on, so I'm still getting rid of some pop-ups and stuff.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, it should have the game should be visible whenever you're ready.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a cool. I was listening to a podcast like this week because CES is going on in Las Vegas, and one of the podcasts I listened to, like every day, they were releasing like 1 or 2 hours of coverage where, and it's kind of like the style of coverage that I like, where it was like the one host with a rotating cast of like journalists coming off the floor of CES, like into a suite, like at the Vatican or whatever, and they
Okay.
were just like he would also walk the show floor, and but they were just talking about like, you know, like all the sort of cheap, like, you know, there's this whole category of like cheap, like AI is in this thing now which doesn't need AI and won't be better with it, and it's like a toaster or
Yeah.
like a fridge or something, and they the one product that they seemed to believe was good with AI was like a cane with an AI camera that would, like, a blind person could use their cane to like say what they're looking at or whatever. And I don't know, that's like
Right.
unproven or whatever, but it seemed like that was maybe the most like, maybe that's a good idea use case if blind people like it, I guess. Uh, and then yeah,
Yeah.
they, but it was just like a good time of like a discussion about like, you know, like what is CES, like who is it for, are any of these products going to be made actually in reality, and like some of them are fake, and
Yeah.
it was a very like, it seemed like very real and like up to date sort of feelings of like what does the industry feel like, and can we get back to an age where like tech is cool and fun instead of like always like really suspicious. And
Yeah.
I just really like hearing, it feels like hearing from actual people who live their lives and see the same things I see, and it's not like overly like they're not hyping anything, they're just sort of like, yeah,
Yeah.
like, yeah, so it's,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
mhm. Yeah, I feel like hearing directly from the people that are like building the thing is like usually, yeah, like I feel like if it's the people that are building the product, then it would be less like it would be
Like
more
less
about like
authentic.
yeah, it would
They
be like
have it, yeah.
like
They
yeah, it'd be
can't
like more
they can't see
about
it, yeah. Not
yeah.
objective or something. Because the other thing, yeah, is like
Well,
there'll be
like
these big
sorry,
panels. Oh yeah,
I meant
yeah,
like I meant like if you're like the people that are actually building the product, like coding it and stuff like that. Like I feel like hearing from those people, like their perspectives might be more about how like technology is fun and like they've always loved technology and stuff. But like usually the people I feel like that present those things are like the people that have some sort of like financial investment in it. So they're trying to like sell it from like a weird like marketing perspective to get more people to invest or something.
yeah. They mentioned like that everyone at the show in the booths is like a marketer and doesn't really know the details, but also like the details themselves are like, they've sort of covered the details like separately of like the people that do know the tech certainly seem to know that like AI has limitations, for example. And so like the deeper, it's like it seems in this particular issue, like the deeper one goes, the more it reveals that it is kind of all just like money shifting around and sucking up like what would be like more interesting innovation or something, like if there was funding for anything other than putting a chatbot in stuff. And like
Yeah.
that was kind of their, and that feels like very real, like it feels like it resonates with like my experience of like even just something as simple as like the new iPhone is not different, is like for the first time it's not different in any way than like, in any exciting way than like its predecessor. And so there's like, it's like, oh, I guess we don't get to have a new cool thing anymore that does anything other than like there's some chatbots fitted into it, and like everyone's like, but they're like opt in, and why would you opt in because they're not even good. And
Yeah.
so it's sort of like it's like yeah, like that's, it like makes me feel like, oh, this room of people, like they get what I feel, day to day. Like I want more excitement and things to be but also I want, like, there's this whole angle of like, but also I want things to be like more fair. And it seems like, is there even room these days for like fun tech that I get to sit here and enjoy when all I hear is that everyone else in the world is like suffering in some different way.
Yeah.
And so then yeah, that's my, but then yeah, I feel like there's more like these indie creators, the independent news outlets, like often their coverage angle is like, here's a new thing in tech and why it kind of is glazing over like this minority that's like stepping on. And it's fun to
Yeah.
feel like, it's fun to like have this viewpoint, this awareness of like, just me, like, yeah, it's but then yeah, what I am searching for now is like, what can I actually, like, the never ending search is like, what can I even do? Like I don't have
Yeah.
connection, like, it's like build connections with other people so that if they do need help, which they do, you can help them. But it's like it's like, but
Yeah.
which people? Yeah, it's like I don't have direct relations with any of these people, so I'm just like choosing a random group that has issues, which they all do, and then helping them, and then trying to feel like, but it, of course,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it doesn't affect, like, it, any decision will just, it's sort of just like, giving my time, making my life a bit worse, which I can afford in the name of someone else who only would be connected to me because I like heard about them on the internet and then decided to like help them for some reason. And
Yeah.
it's asking a lot of like my empathy capabilities to
Yeah.
like stay, it's like to figure out what do I even care about, like what, because there's like, what
Yeah.
should I care about and what do I care about, and should I try to find a way to more authentically care about stuff. It's like, for now all I can do is just listen to how like
Yeah. Like what's going on and
yeah,
stuff
like
like that.
getting,
Yeah.
yeah, it definitely feels wrong to be like, to like continue letting tech be like, and this next product will change the world, and then everyone like throws their money at it. It feels like, at least I'm not like
Yeah.
fully bought into that system still.
Yeah. Like I feel like there can be good things that come from a system like that. Like I think things like pacemakers and things like that have come from that type of system. So like there are like genuinely good like life-saving like I guess like medical marvels and stuff that can be created from the type of system. But then it becomes like once we have a system that can support like basically like human longevity, then like I think we need to have like a system that can support like the humans living in that system.
Yeah, it
Like
seems a bit
if that makes sense. Like
I feel like there's
it
a
becomes
danger,
yeah.
there's like a danger where like the longer rich people live, the more they are concerned about like the retainment of all their wealth and like the continuation of their wealth, and they can like spend their
Yeah.
lives like building, like controlling wealth and building it more. And so there's almost like
Yeah.
a thing where, yeah, it's like the only reason we ever get rid of the 80-year-old, 90-year-old senators is because they like die in office. But imagine they lived another 100 years and it was the same old white men that just locked down the positions. And it's like the only out we have is that like there's no term limit. So it's like they have to die. But the longer we help them live, the more they can just like sit there like gaining their investment portfolio. And so then it's sort of like it's like first step is like get everyone equal so that whatever like next like advancement is made, like everyone kind of benefits from it from the get-go.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like impossible to like sort through all this stuff. I never have any conclusions, like it sort of doesn't,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I kind of feel a little bit the same way. Like it's difficult like because yeah, like you were saying before, like it's difficult to decide like what to care about. Like
Yeah.
because there's so many different things that you can care about, and I feel like a lot of like businesses are now like very predatory about people's caring. Like that's how they like every single commercial I see has to do with like it's like you should care about this or you should care about this. Like most of the time like they're right because it's like preying on emotions and stuff like that. But it's like, yeah, as like a singular person, like it's too difficult to choose to care about like every single thing. Like it just like pulls you in too many different directions, and like most of those issues have like different sides to them and stuff too. So it's like you could be in a situation where like you like are almost like tricked into caring about something the wrong way too. Like I feel like that is something that people could be like in danger of like happening
Yeah.
as well. Because like, yeah, it's like if it benefits business right now, then like it doesn't matter to some of those businesses, like whether they're tricking people into caring about the wrong thing to gain more money or something like that too. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it's we're in like totally like a world where like data is so quickly like manipulated and fabricated, and like even just the way that data is collected is misleading, and uh
Yeah.
like yeah, it's like how yeah, it's like sitting there trying to just even get like a foundation to stand on to figure out what's correct is so difficult. But then at the same time, like our confusion and like the infighting and people arguing is all like beneficial to like whoever is benefiting from like the way things currently are, gets to like continue to benefit until we can like reach a decision on how to change the system. But they may have an interest in just keeping the debate going forever, just so they can like maintain their dominant like position, which where they like so they sort of win until we introduce like let's say like more tax or some kind of regulation or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I was saying I'm gonna have to try to like recall like now that you mentioned like yeah, regulation, stuff like that. Like there was something I was talking to a friend about yeah, just like trying like I think it would be a good idea to introduce like more regulations around yeah, businesses just like in
Mm-hmm.
general, like for yeah, just like business practices. I don't know. Like it
Uh-huh.
seems it's so strange to me how quickly like business and stuff like evolves and like technology evolves in our world like so much faster than like the law and stuff does.
Yeah.
And like most of the time like it seems like the way that our system works or like the way that I guess most society systems work are that like the law is kind of decided based on like rulings about like people's pasts or like what has like already occurred, and it's like to a certain extent like I think we have enough people that have enough experience to have like the foresight to know like what should be illegal about certain things like before somebody makes the mistake. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like like there should be it's like when somebody introduces a new technology like AI, like people should immediately start trying to come up with laws about preventing people from misusing it instead of letting those people misuse those things until we need to make laws to prevent it. Because, like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like we know that people exist. Like, there are people that have, like, been in, like, prison systems and stuff too that, like, they've been in that mindset before. So, like, they could reasonably tell, like, what people might try to do with these things, like, if they're in a certain, like, criminal mindset or something like that too. And, like, I think like those voices would be like really like interesting and important to hear from because like those people would be able to tell us like hey like I really think like if somebody is like down and out enough and has access to this tool like they're probably going to try to use it this way and it's going to affect a lot of people or something like that. Like I think
Yeah.
that like hearing those like voices like that is like needs to have a bit more importance now that technology is evolving so quickly that it can affect a bunch of people, like basically the whole world. Like technology, we could have like an advancement tomorrow that affects everybody in the whole world, and like we don't really have a
Yeah.
way to deal with that as a planet now. I guess it's the same sort of like I guess like we've dealt with that issue before with like I guess like weapons of like mass destruction and stuff like that, but it seems like there's like almost like psychological implications of technology that could be used now as like weapons globally. Like I think it
Mm-hmm.
feels to me at least like we're approaching that like kind of that era.
Yeah, like definitely, yeah, like nobody has a source of truth that they can like go back to determine almost anything,
Yeah.
and like rapidly, yeah, that's like deteriorating. Yeah, the idea, I feel like there's like when we say like hear about, like your idea was like hear about voices that are in prison so that we can like predict in advance like how possible crimes could be used with this new thing to like prevent harm. There's like a implied thing there where it's like our goal is to like help protect the majority of people from like having harm, but I feel like some other people's goal is like uh solidify the power that like a few individuals have to like remain in absolute control. And
Hmm.
if like, so for example, if the person that is like, if there's one, like it's always, I think it's bad to have like one leader and one guy that's making the decisions, and often like if it is a guy it's even worse, or like a white guy or a white old guy where it's like they have absolute power. uh but
Yeah, like a yeah.
yeah. So then if that person, if they determine that like my power will be more absolute if I control AI and no one else does, and I get to sort of like have AI be a thing that I own and make money from and then use the money to like solidify my power, then if they get a hint that like if we listen to these people's voices, they may say something that takes power away from the guy at the top, and that could be a destabilizing thing. And like, and then the guy at the top is like, well, we can't have that. I need absolute power. Like, I can't have anyone
Right.
challenging. Like, yeah. And so, like, their whole worldview is like, I need to have all the power and the money so that I can make sure like the right thing happens. Meanwhile, like all these people are suffering, and our whole worldview is like distribute the power, because like the consolidation of power is what's causing harm. And they're like, well, don't question my consolidation of power because then I'll have to put you in jail. And
Yeah.
it's like, what are we talking about? You know, so then, but then, yeah, like it's like, how do we collect the data that we need
Yeah.
to,
I
yeah,
think
to sort of make
like
progress that way? Yeah.
yeah, and I think too like it's kind of it's like an interesting issue because like if we do or like if there was a way to say like hey like these certain people that have a lot of money and a lot of power right now like they have too much of it and it like needs to stop happening like uh my like my guess is that if that ever happened there would just be a new group of people that showed up like I think that's kind of the way like
Yeah.
the human system has to operate for a while because it's the way that it's been operating for so long that like nobody, at least like the world that I'm used to, like not a lot of people would be used to or be
Yeah.
able to
Some
like
kind of,
function in a
yeah.
system that doesn't have somebody with power telling them like
Yeah.
what what is right or what is wrong or like what is our goal as humanity like that sort of thing like it feels like if there's somebody that has influence and power that can say those things as an absolute then like they're almost like the queen ant or something like that like that's a little bit the
Yeah.
way like the system works in my mind kind of I don't know like
Yeah. It seems like maybe like the first thing would be like these fundamental, like the way that we vote like should be like ranked choice, and there should be like proportional representation, which I guess that's what Canada has, where yeah, like sort of you can rank all the candidates, which means you get an opinion about like all of them, and then also anyone that gets votes gets a little bit of power in terms of a seat in the house or whatever, so that like everyone that got any amount of votes is then like, you know, that view or those people get represented in some way, instead of just like only the guy who wins gets to have a say and the tiny people like get kind of overlooked.
yeah yeah I think there's like there's issues with like both the American and like Canadian system when it comes to politics that like are essentially like game breaking or however you want
Yeah,
to approach them
because yeah, like but I feel like
there's
those issues
different
are,
there's like
yeah.
yeah there's like different ways of like gerrymandering in both systems
Yeah, and like
and like
until like it would be good to fix
yeah
those, because then if a candidate appeared that had a solutions that everyone likes, that's fair for everyone, they could get like more power behind them to like implement their ideas. And
hmm
because I don't see like if one guy can always sort of co-opt it with like just sort of listen to me, I'm like in charge and can say the answer, and like a strong minority agrees, then they can keep that person in power, and we can't really make any sort of progress or something.
yeah
So that would, I feel like that's the first step, and then the second one is like like everybody starts doing like local action where like we no longer try to do like these big solutions for the country, but like every like neighborhood and like city does what needs to be done locally in their city to promote the idea of everyone
Yeah.
shares and benefits like within the city. There's programs within the city, but then for every citizen to be like a good citizen that's on board with that program, we need like education, I guess, where like every student should be told like it's good to try to, you know, accumulate wealth and protect yourself, but immediately then turn your eye to like your neighbors and what they need,
Yeah.
and like share with them, because
Mhm.
yeah, every person. Oh, did your guy fall or something?
I was like just testing to see what would happen if I jumped, and I did fall, but I'm not dead. I was able to like come back to the thing.
Can you get back to? You'll need to get back to this oxygen thing.
Did you bring it inside this cave that you're digging?
Yeah, I
Or is
started
it?
walking through the cave. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm back here.
Yeah, here we should be good. We need to sort of, the gravity's messed up. We need to like, we're going back to the surface, and we just need to
Okay.
sort of like, yeah, I guess we can try to sort of get off of this like wall. We're standing on sort of the wall. We need to like make our way back to the ground, so we can try to dig.
It's the
Like, sort
ground
of-
like here. Yeah, if you just jump, then you can get off
Yeah.
the thing. Oh, right, you have to try to like get the house to.
Yeah, the house is probably good. It's like the camera. It's hard to keep the camera angle like when I'm jumping and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I find when there's a lot of
There we
objects
go. Yeah.
in this game, it makes the camera like.
Oh, we might be able to find like the pathway again, because we're now one level up. Like the forest level is like the bottom level, and I see the vault here. So somewhere over here, we must have like went to this vault before, and therefore there's like a path to the surface nearby. But I think we had to run a little bit to get to our pathway. I'll just try not to move the house too much so that like you don't lose track of where the house is.
Yeah, now I'm trying to get back off of the thing to the ground.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there we go. Nice. Yeah, I keep getting like pulled back into it.
The house actually shows up on our compass if you press R.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so here's like an old vault that we made it to. I think so like in some direction. We'll have to sort of just like explore in a couple different directions. I feel like this way. There might be not not very many signs, except for like maybe we dug some terrain like on our way. But that would be fun if we can. Hey, there's like more. There's more than one vault actually, I guess. That's weird.
Maybe it's just this planet or something.
Because the compass like brings you to a specific vault. I wonder if you get closer to another one. Oh yeah, these ones are like not even solved. So I guess we solved one of them. Yeah, so I guess it would be like trying to solve.
Yeah, like the one that we were at before, that was like the one that we just came from was unsolved, right? I think, but I don't know where
Oh
the
yeah.
pieces would have been to find
Yeah,
to
so
put onto
then I
it.
bet, yeah, probably we won't be able to find like the one that we solved because it would be like anywhere.
Okay.
So I guess we just start building like a pathway back. We can go up a pillar, I guess. A pillar, yeah, we can sort of use a pillar to build a pathway.
Okay.
So
Oh
yeah,
yeah, here's
I'll go back to the
so
house.
like
Yeah, what did you
yeah.
find?
I was gonna ask, like, I forget where we were even getting the pieces for the vaults, like the puzzle pieces that go on the sides.
When you first find the vault, you just activate it by holding F, and then they appear. But I
Oh,
think
okay.
these ones can't be activated because we already solved like one of them, I guess.
Oh, okay. So I guess it just like there's a bunch of them on the planet, and then you just have to solve one or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense because uh, they want to make sure like you're not completely on the opposite side of the planet by because
Mm.
it's like somewhat randomly generated.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then yeah, it's weird that they place the other vaults, but they know sort of like which one your base is closest to.
Where's our base? What the heck?
Yeah, I started moving it, but you can see
Oh.
over if you can see where I am or
If you are you still holding it?
yeah,
If you put it down, the marker might pop up.
I'm headed back to the if you're at the vault.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I see where you are now.
Yeah, I'm basically going to the closest pillar. And then we'll just carve like a walkway up in the pillar.
Yeah.
We could also just like if we in the menu you can just like kill yourself and go back to the shelter and then
Mhm.
make our way down, but then it would just become sort of a rescue mission for our own bodies, which might
Yeah.
not be easier.
A ton of stuff here. Did we bring this? No, we didn't bring all this stuff here. Right? It's just here. Weird.
Yeah, there's often like junk like around.
But
Some of it works. Sometimes that stuff doesn't look like it.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess this part since we got sort of like stuck without our like road, it's might take a while to like build a pathway back to the surface, but it's kind of fun like working with terrain, and it's just gonna sort of delay like
Mhm.
yeah, like we solved the vault, so now I have the little like chip on me, and when we put the chip in our base at the surface, it will tell us to go to the third storm, and then basically we do another like storm data collection.
Okay.
Yeah, I always get like information about like backroom dealings in like politics, like from reading different newsletters and stuff. And the latest I
Mhm.
heard was like whenever Hillary Clinton ran for president, Bernie Saunders was like trying to also run for like I guess the Democratic Party, and at some point there was basically like because Bernie Saunders like sued the Democratic Party for not for like sort of blocking him from running for president,
Running. Yeah.
or like not running, but like he suspects that like the will of the people was hit for him, but they like a small room of people that don't have a lot of accountability like picked Hillary because
Yeah.
like they sort of personally liked her.
Mhm.
Uh, and so he sued them, and then a bunch of documents came out that kind of showed like that kind of is what happened. Like there is
Yeah.
like the people in the
From the
Democratic
yeah.
yeah, like they're
From
not
the
yeah. Or yeah, go ahead.
this the sense that I got like socially at the time, just from like what I was hearing people around me saying was that like Bernie Sanders was like who people wanted to vote for. Like before it was announced that Hillary was the
Yeah.
person that was running or whatever, like everybody was kind of like excited that Bernie Sanders might be the guy, like or something
Yeah.
like that. So I could see how like
But then yeah,
I could
there's
see
the
how maybe that
whole
was
I think
possible.
a big influence in the Democratic Party is like corporate influence, and corporations would not want Bernie Sanders. So I feel like
Mhm.
corporations would be like, "Oh, let's put Hillary," and like that way she'll be easier on like us like big corporations, and so maybe
Mhm.
they have like the most influence in terms of the people that are in that room, like they can they're
Oh,
those
I
like maybe
see.
those people are from like they could be people that are from big tech or big corporations, or if they
Mhm.
make the right decision, they will be hired as like an executive on a board or something, and it's like not
Yeah.
technically bribery or whatever. Yeah, I'm sort of building these arrangement of stairs. They sort of zigzag. Hopefully I don't drop this house. Just watch the footing here because
Okay.
I've sort of crazily built this. It doesn't go all the way up yet. I was just moving the house like more upwards. I think there's a few
Yeah.
more floors.
Yeah, I find it pretty difficult to like find good sources for like political news and stuff like that. Like I tend to really just like ignore it, to be honest, because like I
Yeah.
am more like afraid that any source that I find is like the wrong thing. Like more than I'm afraid that I'm not more than I'm afraid that I'm uninformed. Like to me, like being misinformed is way more dangerous than being uninformed. So for the most part, like there are like some sites that I do use, so I do know like generally what's going on in politics, but like anytime anybody's offering a perspective on like what to think about politics, I try to like avoid that and then just base like my own, I guess, thoughts off of like what is being reported is happening instead of
Yeah.
instead of like a newscast telling me like we should feel upset about this or something. It's like just tell me what's happening and don't tell me how to feel. Like I just want to know like yeah.
Yeah, the current thing that I've ended up doing, like I have a lot of podcasts from like individual personalities or journalist owned like outlets, and I sort of get a
Mm.
sense like the first thing is like I can hear like them talking about their personal lives, and like they mention like rent sucks or it's hard to find a house like in their own life, and I sort of get a sense of like their like the outcome they want is close to what I also believe, which is like more fairness for like more people. And so then once I sort of determine that like it's an authentic person, that the outcome they want is more fairness for more people, then I sort of defer to like whenever they say like, oh, there's some shenanigans with like Bernie Sanders not getting put in the position, then I sort of think like, okay, well, if like that may be true, like that seems to be like he certainly wasn't in the position and it would have been good for the outcomes that we want. And so then I think
Yeah.
like, and it's like, and they're saying that there was like, they're not like arguing with the process, they're saying there was like no process, like it was just like guys in a back room. And it's like, well, if no one
Yeah.
shows me like an official vote that clearly like, you know, because I can sort of sense like
Yeah.
it just
And it's
makes
just
that go,
funny
yeah.
because like
Yeah.
the name of the party is democracy. Like so it's like what
Yeah.
it's like what it's like this wasn't that doesn't sound democratic. Like
Yeah, it's like so funny when it's like that on it, like they're like, should we actually have the principles by which our party operates be like democracy, or like, I mean, we already have the name, yeah, that should do it. Like just
yeah.
in name is probably good.
Yeah, that's like the names of the parties and stuff get a little bit confusing for me too sometimes because like yeah, like it's like they are named after I guess like their general political leanings, but like it doesn't
Yeah.
stop them from lying. Like it doesn't stop them from like lying about like yeah, it's just like strange because it's like you would think like there's the Democratic Party and then like the Republican Party
Or
and
like,
like
yeah,
the
Republican is like, well, oh yeah, I guess their name is Republican, yeah.
yeah, so like in my mind that like I don't know if this is true, but like in my mind that translates to like wanting like they would want more of a republic type government, like which in
Hmm.
my mind kind of translates to like it's like if
Like
it's
rule
about like
by the few or something. Like,
yeah, it's like
yeah.
it's supposed to be like quote unquote like about the people that are born here or something, or it's like about it's
Mm.
like a republic is kind of like it makes me think about like because the only other really republic that I'm familiar with is like China People Republic, which like the base, I guess like, and like I haven't studied politics, so like everything I'm saying right now is like just like some idiot's point of view about the
Yeah, it's
world.
pretty much my view because I don't know
Yeah.
anything either. So I kind of make the same conclusion it sounds like that you're making, which I think are roughly
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, like so like in my mind, like when I hear the word like Republican or like Republic, I think like these are people that want to make like a space in the world that is kind of only focused on itself. And it's like people working for the people in that area. Um and it's like less of a focus, I guess, on like uh people from outside that area, like at all. I don't know, like like
That
I
does
yeah,
seem to
like
be what they're, because that's what I've heard is like there's a lot of different tiny organizations that all consider themselves conservative, and the one force that binds them all together is the belief that the best thing is for like those that are like that some people are born to rule. Like that's their main belief is like some people are
mhm.
born to rule and others are born to be ruled over, and that generally informs like how they want to see everything is that like those that are at the top are there because they fought to get there and they're the strongest and the smartest, and so therefore like we're going to outsource the
Right.
decision to them, and everyone else just be thankful that like for what you have or something. And but yeah, it definitely that like that works for like 1 second until like the guy at the
Yeah.
top gets misinformed and then obliterates like a bunch of people, and then like it's like
Yeah.
okay, well we already lost.
And what I think too is that like a lot of these people that are like extremely like affluent and wealthy, like they could try to spread their wealth around and like it would mean that like them and their children would have like less affluent lives. But I think that like I think that maybe the way some of them are looking at it is like that their children like would be less happy or something, or like wouldn't be as happy as them if they didn't have like the same luxurious upbringing. But like
Yeah.
I think like when you look at it from like a psychological perspective, like you can have people that are like completely happy that are like in pretty like dire circumstances.
Yeah, and
Like,
even
and I mean like
the bond between like the parent and the child is weird because immediately it's like, well, if I want my kid to be happy, then I assume other parents want their kids to be happy, and more kid parent pairs could be happy if I reduce my kid a little bit. And it just seems like,
yeah,
wouldn't my kid want me to make the decision for that's better for all rather than just for themselves? Like it's sort of, but also for myself, like it's like I should
yeah,
sacrifice, like everyone should be somewhat invested in like the other sentient beings around them, because what's the point? It's like if it's like more fun to be alive if everyone's happy rather than just like
yeah.
one guy on a yacht alone and everyone else like serving them is like that's not even fun like at its core.
Yeah, but I guess like from the opposite perspective, it's like they believe that like the people that are serving them on the yacht are like, well, they get to be on a yacht or something, like they're improving their lives just because they're there serving them or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
which is like still, it's like I could see somebody make an argument for like the circumstances of just like being in servitude to somebody else is a dire circumstance or something like that. Like I think for some people anyway. Like just
Mm.
because everybody is like happy and healthy doesn't mean that they're going to be happy if like or sorry, like yeah, just because people are like healthy and like in a good place doesn't mean that they're going to be happy like if their whole life is like forced into servitude for somebody else or like somebody
Yeah.
else's like wants. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like neither person, like the person that is only served is not happy and the person that's only serving is not happy, but both of them need both. Like sometimes
Yeah.
it's fun to, yeah, it's like fun to have things done for you and fun to also serve. And there's like a problem there for both, is that like the rich people never get a chance to serve because they're always being served, and then the serve people only serve. and
Mhm.
and so it's like the solution is like give the rich people a chance to serve, by like disenfranchising them basically,
Yeah.
and then like they will face hardship, which is actually fun. Like an important fun part of life is a little bit of hardship and challenge that
Yeah.
you like, that like by definition you like don't voluntarily face, because you sort of want to have the experience of discomfort so that you can sort of
Mhm.
better appreciate like the range of life. And so
Yeah.
then, but I feel like the current bend of tech is that like people are saying like AI is going to be our friends and our lovers and our only companion and keep us occupied and entertained, and like we'll never have to have any other human make a show for us. And they've already seen that like Gen Z Gen Z doesn't want like they don't want AI in between their personal relationships. Like
Yeah.
they want the drama and everything that comes with like a normal breakup and a normal friendship, like the ups and downs, and they don't want AI. Whoa.
Can we get it
I
back?
guess we gotta just.
Oh.
Oh yeah, it stopped. I think.
Sorry. Sorry.
Whoa. Let's
It
try
just
to
started
go.
like spinning and I was rolling my hand like
Yeah, next time. I don't know how it works. Like, if we die, do we? Because we last thing we did was enter and exit this house, but it's in a very different location. So I wonder, like, do we
yeah.
always walk out of this house? Like, even if it's like upside down in a ditch somewhere, like, do we? If we
Yeah.
die, do we go?
Yeah, I was gonna say to that point of like talking about how maybe like people that are like born affluent or like rich or whatever, um like if they undergo hardship that might be like good for their character or something. Like I wonder how I wonder if like systems like in South Korea and stuff like where military service is like mandatory, or I think like in Thailand you have to do either military service or be like a monk for a certain amount of time. Like you have the option. Like
Yeah.
I wonder if some sort of system like that would be, or like if those systems that are already in place in those places, like if they've seen like a marked difference in the way that their like affluent population acts because of their like time yeah, like working
Yeah.
for other people or like serving other people.
I think it's very tricky because the intuitive philosophy and like thing that so many people believe is like that it's like, well, if I can get out of that military service, then I've won or something. And it's like, but it's like actually you like the position you want to be in is like thinking that you don't want to do it, but then still having to do it and growing as a person because of it. So like
Yeah.
that is the thing, is like people should be thinking they don't want to do something and then doing it and having a new perspective. But the problem is, if you have enough money, as soon as you think you don't want to do something, you can get out of it, and then you do get out of it, and then you never have the perspective, and then
Yeah.
you don't even ever get an example of like being forced to do something, because you can just fight forever. And then like yeah, and then like a big company that you own promising like, we're going to remove all negative things from the world, and it's like that rich person actually thinks we do want to remove negative things because they've never experienced a negative thing.
Right. Yeah.
And then like we all know that like that's just part of life, and at some point it's more about like removing the burden that, because some people's lives are like only negative things, and we want to like
Mhm.
lift those people up rather than obsess about like one
Yeah.
day where there's no negative things. It's like, but I think that was actually a message that I got from this like CES coverage, that it was like a room full of like smart journalists agreeing that like tech still believes that like all the problems will go away, and doesn't realize that like we do want to face problems in our lives to just have something to do. Like that's what entertainment is, kind of. Uh,
Yeah.
and it was nice to hear like, because yeah, like definitely like my coworkers and boss, like occasionally they'll say stuff like, like our mission is still to like impact the world or like use our power for good. But at some point it's like the mere fact that we hold power is the problem, because we're like a monopoly, huge thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you make that switch? Like these people that for like 20 years have been like praised and told that like they're the chosen ones and the smart ones, and and even they don't really believe that. But
Yeah.
it's like so built in that it's like, well, who is going to invent the thing
Yeah.
that makes change if not us? And it's like, no, like by us ceasing to exist, we will have achieved the goal. Like that's the whole point.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, ever since I guess like the introduction of like AI and like me understanding I guess the concept of AI being trained on like really large data sets of just like kind of like social energy from humans on the internet, like people saying like it's just being trained on like people socializing like on the internet and stuff like that. Like part of that, like understanding that part of how AI works kind of like opened my eyes a little bit or like changed my perspective on like when I talk or think about the human system, like it makes it seem like on a much more grander scale now. Like I feel
Oh yeah,
like yeah,
like
like
is
when I
there
think
even like is does the data to do the right thing even exist in some non-subjective way? And like the very base, like the fact that we believe countries exist and take that
yeah,
for granted in our discussions on the internet now means that like forever
and just
it will be
like
baked in.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and just the way that like the human system operates in general, like when people do things that other people believe are wrong, they're kind of like there's like a social reaction to that, and sometimes that those people that did that wrong thing like will fix it, or like it'll go the other way, and like the wrong thing will just become like not wrong anymore, and everybody will agree that like that should have never been wrong, maybe or something like that. Like there's kind of like
Mm.
systems, like social systems like that that kind of work like I guess globally now that we have like global internet connection too. Like that is like pretty relevant to how our society operates, I think. And just like yeah, as I was saying, like it kind of changed like whenever I think about like the human system or like I think a lot now about like just the word or the concept of like the human system and like how it's like we kind of are like one, like I mean like this is like I guess like a radical idea, like but I don't
Like one
like it's not so
organism or something.
yeah, it's like a radical idea, but I wouldn't say that I believe it all the time, maybe. Like is that we're just like one large organism that's trying to like control itself through like social energy most of the
Yeah.
time.
There
Like
is a lot of
which like
analogies like for that direction because like if one guy starts to accumulate all the money, that's kind of like cancer. Like it's
yeah.
a like a collection of cells that in a runaway fashion grows and grows, killing the host, right? Like it's one dude sucking up all the money and the power, which eventually kills the planet or something like that. Is like it's like obviously
Yeah.
that's just like sort of a parallel thing, but it supports the idea that like yeah, like you can have viruses, like you can have ideological viruses that go around the planet, and we need to
Yeah.
immunize ourselves, like prime people to be to resistant against them, so they don't get like their mind sucked up in
Yeah.
it or something. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
and I
like a
think
lot of
they're
yeah.
like yeah, that's something that I do think about too. Like, so I'm glad that you brought it up. Yeah, like because
Yeah.
it's like a very interesting concept to me. Like that is like a reality or like could be a reality. Um, yeah,
Yeah,
and like it's
there's like this, I think I heard this thing of like philosophy where it's like if like we think that we own our bodies and we don't own things that are like outside our bodies in the same way, but if you like when you pick up a pen and you start writing, there's like a moment where you forget that you're holding a pen, and the pen is just like an extension of your body which you don't think about,
mhm.
and it's you're sort of like using another thing that we classically think of as external to our body to like accomplish a goal, but in that moment it says like in your body as any other limb that you might use to achieve a task. And but then you think like, well, if we use a keyboard to type onto the internet, we don't really think about like the keyboard constantly being external to our body. We think of the keyboard as an appendage that's letting us like
Yeah,
get a means to an end. But the thing that we're doing is like typing into this like this global consciousness, like the internet.
yeah,
And so we have this like there's like a seamless connection between our mind and this internet. And then you could say like there's no real reason why our health, like our immediate health is our body, but our long-term health is the planet and the environment and the ecosystem. And so
yeah,
like if we want to be fully healthy beings, it's it's equally parts our body internally and like what we think of as classically not our body, which might just be a greater extension of like the whole
Yeah.
organism. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think too, like whatever we like, basically like people's decisions are like based on influence a lot, I think. And like people can be influenced into believing that things that are bad for them are good for them. So like
Mm-hmm.
in
And
that
it's like there's
regard,
even truth in that, like as we discussed, like having bad things happen sometimes is like character building in small ways. And so it's like bad certain amount of certain bad things is like the human experience. And so it's like,
yeah.
so then it's like, how do you, it's like these people are not even convinced that it uh that bad things are sometimes good, sometimes they are, and that's like an even more nuanced like
Yeah. Yeah, it's true, I guess, like if you're, yeah, I wonder like, yeah, I just wonder like how, because there must be something, like there must be some way that people,
Yeah, well, I was
yeah, I
searching
don't
for
know,
like a
like
ground, some kind of like ground truth that we like. There must be
yeah,
some kind of foundation on which to build anything. That's what
yeah,
I sometimes was. But then, yeah, it's like, but if there's not, then how? Like, if everything is truly meaningless and relative and arbitrary, then why do we do anything? And my thinking, like, I actually, I've had like, I've done thinking on this, and like my colleagues echoed some of the stuff I was thinking that uh like, you know, if we can maintain that like there's no meaning or value or anything to anything, and nothing is like good or bad absolutely, but we can still sort of we can do whatever we want and whatever we think is fun, and that just most of the time happens to be like constructive things that other humans as well benefit as like good things, because like it just so happens something we do for fun is like entertain other humans, and something that we often don't feel like doing is like committing crimes. And then as you scale that up, it's like that's just human society's like functioning. Like everyone is free to do and think what they want, but it just so happens that they all do like to sort of agree on things when possible and cooperate, and like that's evolution kind of built that into our circuitry. So it's uh like we
yeah,
can sort of, you know, the economy can run and we can build new technology just because that's fun, at the same time that we agree none of it has any meaning. And you could throw it all out the window if someone says actually like this is hurting me, then we're like, okay, you know, like we thought it
yeah,
was fun,
yeah.
but
It
we're not going
seems,
to do it. Yeah.
yeah, it seems to be like pretty universal that like hurt is like the thing that all humans want to avoid or like want to help each other avoid usually. Like that seems to be the main thing. But it's, yeah, it's, I guess like it comes back to like, I think like a pretty long time ago, I was talking about like there's like de-stress and like eustress. And it's like uh
Mm.
one one is considered like positive stress, like that has positive benefits, and the other is considered like negative stress, I suppose, that has like usually not good outcomes or something. So like I think, yeah, it's like people want to avoid like hurt and pain, and they want to help other people avoid hurt and pain. But at the same time, like people do still seek out like traumatic experiences in order to experience like eustress and like come out on the other
Mm.
side with like a more whole understanding, I guess, of like how the world works and how to operate in it, perhaps.
Yeah, I never, that's good like terminology. I haven't come across that stuff. But it does make sense because yeah, like I always think of like one of my favorite things to do is like run ultra marathons, and the point of running it is just to experience like pain and sort of like, or like my thing about it is like I like to be in a situation where I feel like I don't want to be in this situation, but sort of have to come to terms with like this is how much time or distance is left, and
Right.
the way to sort of like get to a point where I can allow myself to rest is like covering this distance. And I really, that's when I enjoy it the most, is when I really feel
Yeah.
like I don't want to do this, but then I like slowly do accomplish it. And
Right.
that's when in those moments, I've reached like a state of like acceptance where like, it's like I'm under pain and I feel like tired or whatever. And then I realize like, the way to get through this is like just accepting that like that's what life is right now, and almost in some sense like it's not any different than any other time. It's just like this is a balance of chemicals like in my body that's telling me a certain message, and it's not good or bad,
Yeah.
and it's just like occurring, and I can sort of in one mindset I can enjoy it, or in another I could not, and like uh,
Yeah.
that's such a for me that's like a very revealing sort of thing where because then you come back to the world and you're like, oh, like I don't need like this amount of AC or this amount of stuff or like uh this amount of
Yeah.
entertainment, like, or like I don't need video games to like come out immediately, or it's even better if they don't, because of I want to sort of experience like boredom, and because then that gives like it teaches me like there's so much more like slack in the world where
Yeah.
everyone, it's like everything could be slower, and people could have more time and more space to like live their lives. They don't have to like serve me immediately. uh
Yeah.
but yeah, it's
Yeah.
but
That's
that would
something that,
be all. Yeah, that's all like the good, I guess, the good kind of pain that I technically do have like full control over, and it's like voluntary. But
Mhm.
there's a very, yeah, it's like there's an interplay between like I like to have these periods of time where it's like not like I volunteered to experience the pain for this amount of time, but in that amount of time I can't
Right.
necessarily immediately voluntarily end the pain. Like it's sort of like I have no choice but to feel like I don't want, it's that it's involuntary a little bit, because it's sort of fun to have that experience or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I think it's kind of like when you sign up for races and stuff like that, would you say like that moment is like the moment that you're
Mm.
chasing as well? Like,
Yeah,
or
well, yeah, it's fun to think that all I have to do is check this box or whatever, like sign up with the credit card. And once I do that, I've signed up for a future period of time where I will lose control over my ability to like control exactly, like my
yeah.
climate and how I feel and what I want to do. And
Okay.
and
Yeah, I
that's
can
the
relate to
excitement.
that.
Yeah, because then
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I'm going to have a new experience, and I'm not going to be able to like escape from it in the ways that society lets me. Because, yeah, like in every other way, like I'm the privileged person that can use money to have the experience I want, and everyone is really there to serve me, like if I'm in a room most of the time. And so there's never a case where it's like, if something I don't like exists, then usually some affordance is made to like shift it onto someone else without me even knowing.
Right.
But then yeah, it's like it's nice when it's like, okay, I'm gonna be like, but even then, of course, there's layers of like there's still like a first aid staff and aid stations and a course marked, and like I can never fully escape. Like I can never experience what it's like to truly be homeless or truly be in like a third world country or oppressed or
Right.
something, like because
Yeah.
yeah, it's like by definition, like even if I did, I would be voluntarily going there in the first place. And so
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I
that's like a
guess
whole inaccessible. Yeah.
yeah, I think that's a little bit of like what the draw of like solo camping and like solo hiking is for me is
Mm.
like yeah, experiencing like that it's like those it's almost like that same type of feeling because like I feel like when I'm like isolated or alone, like it gives me the same maybe the same type of feeling of like I don't want to be here or something like that sometimes.
Yeah,
Like
I've
I
seen
do
it. Yeah.
find yeah,
Yeah.
like I do find it to be calming and stuff like that, like within like certain parameters, but I think like that is also like a feeling that I kind of chase out as like eustress as well, is like trying to isolate myself in like semi-extreme conditions, like not extreme like as if they're gonna kill me, but like extreme as in like compared to my everyday life. Like I don't have
Yeah.
shelter, I don't have like water unless I filter it, like that sort of thing. Like those type of like situations to me are like I think they give me the same feeling of yeah, like eustress where like I want to seek out those experiences because they give me like more of a feeling of like independence, especially when it's like opposing like a very real feeling of like feeling like I guess like the fear of isolation and things like that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that seems like similar to
Yeah,
what
like
you mean.
I
Yeah.
think it's like almost the same sort of like mental hurdle as like because I know the feeling that you're talking about when yeah like you're running a race and it's like I don't want to be here and then but like the like successful like fulfillment feeling kind of comes from like your own changed perspective of like believing you can do it and like getting through it and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
like I think it's almost like the same type of mental hurdle to be like isolated and like overcome the challenge of like being isolated too.
Yeah, and like the involuntary boredom is very interesting. Like just
Hmm.
being, yeah, having no access to like sometimes like all the classical things that entertain us, and having to just see like the fear of like, oh, what am I gonna do to entertain myself, and then sort of like our mind realizing like our mind is sort of built to invent things for us as needed, but it's just like a muscle that hasn't been like worked out at
Yeah.
all in our lives. Yeah, it's interesting. One of the side benefits of the emergence of like a very weak form of like AI that we have or whatever, like compared to what it could be or something, is that like it seems to be making everyone like very philosophical, where like we see it's like, oh, this thing at least claims to do things for us, and then we think like we sort of go in with the belief of, oh, it's going to do the things, and then it doesn't, but then we think like, well, one day, like 50 years from now maybe it will. And then we start thinking we have like a better ability to think like, oh, so I'm going to sit down in the front of the computer and then watch a show that no one else has seen, and then what am I going to do, talk about it with my friends like who haven't seen the show? It's like, actually what
Mhm.
I want is like, I just want like one I want people. It's like we start realizing that when we were watching these TV shows, it wasn't to entertain ourselves, it was to give us an excuse to like come together with other people and like have something to share in common. And so
Right. Yeah.
then, yeah, so then all of a sudden the like we realize like, oh, the purpose of anything is to create like community, because built into our circuitry is like wanting to be with other people. And so now we have this much like more finer grained sense of like the kind of entertainment we want promotes like this underlying human value of sharing with other people. And it's not just about like sitting in a box ourselves like being entertained in like isolation.
Yeah.
uh
Yeah, it's
yeah.
kind of like it's so interesting to me like when the pandemic and stuff was going on and like I was going through like more of a difficult like mental health time, I would say like I did feel like quite isolated and like it was just interesting to me how video games about isolation
Oh yeah.
like helped me feel like more together with other people that also felt that same isolation. Like it was just like it's such an interesting experience. Like, and I guess the first time maybe that would have really happened like in media would have been like through books or like writing or something like that. Like for humans, like it's like when people
Yeah.
feel like, yeah. And I guess maybe that could have been even like where the origin of like having a written language even stemmed from is like people needing to communicate like beyond like I guess their capabilities like right in front of them or something.
Yeah, because I remember people saying that like when books first came out, people thought that like kids would be antisocial and just reading all the time. And like
Hmm.
we look back on that and think it's funny because we have like control of the book technology or whatever. But yeah, it keeps happening, and now it's like, what if there was a machine that could just do everything a brain could do? And that's a question that humans really have to get philosophical to deal with, because it deals with our own mind and our own like, what does it mean to,
Yeah.
yeah, talk to someone or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting, like, because I think, like, since humans are like social creatures, like they are, like we are going to keep basically trying to introduce some sort of like creation of our own, like AI or something like that, that we can like talk to. So I think it's like it's gonna be interesting to see what happens, like, after we have like models of these things that are like basically like robots that can be like companions and stuff, like it's going to be interesting to see like how soon after that happens people start trying to like give them rights like humans and stuff like that too. Because I think there's like a pretty large portion of humanity that's like emotional enough that they won't let anybody like quote unquote like hurt the robots emotionally, like even though they can't feel it.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, uh, that's something that interests me, and like I really, really hope it doesn't end up that like there's AI or like robots that have like more rights than like real people. Like that would suck.
That's a good point though, because yeah, like as soon as you say that, it's like, uh, yeah, like rich people are gonna rank their personal robot assistant above actual humans, and it's
Yeah.
like it's actually gonna happen. It's crazy. It's kind of crazy. It's like doctors can now get paid more to repair robots than do actual surgeries for actual human people, like because that's where the money is. Like, but I don't know. I
Yeah.
guess we have to follow. It's like, but it's like, but with the money that's paid for these surgeries, we could train more doctors. It's like, but wait, like we're not though. Like, it's gonna be a whole
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, it's so funny to think about. Like that's like an accurate prediction of the future. Is like it's like we don't have any doctors to do this surgery for you, but we can shift your mind into a robot that a rich person does want repaired, except for you'll have to be like their servant forever in the robot. And you're like, do you want to live or not? And you're like, and then it's like, well, you could have chose to die. So in choosing to be a servant, that's your choice. And like, you made it. So you're the servant. And like, and it's just like, and then yeah, it's just, are we just reinventing like yeah, it's funny how yeah, just like a reinvention of slavery of like it's like
Yeah.
robots with former human consciousnesses in them that formerly agreed to live inside the robot like chose to be servants, and like so there'll be like this whole argument of like what choice people had in what situation.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like something that like people around me have been discussing a lot, and like I've seen it's like starting to die down a bit now, I think, but like just a theme that I see like reoccurring in media lately is the idea that like free will like does or doesn't exist sort of thing. I don't know if you've like encountered that discussion
Yeah,
yet.
I don't know like the theories directly, but I have this feeling that like I sort of think like if you go all the way down to like a single time step where you have like a bombardment of like inputs coming into the human body and mind, like all of our senses, and then
Mhm.
and then you look at like what does that organism do in the next like time step, like what is the output for all those inputs. I feel like on that level you could predict like that one time step of like, well, this organism that's constructed in this way with like these neural pathways has no choice but to do like the next thing based on all these inputs. But then
Yeah.
but then whenever you make the time scale longer, it seems like a human body as this like weather system, like a weather system, a chaotic system. We have this like personality in there where we can like nudge ourselves in certain directions, where like we can make these broad sweeping choices like never visiting a certain area or never doing a certain action, basically like eliminates the inputs that we would get in that situation.
Right.
So I started seeing it as like uh, that like long term we can like guide the ship, but in moment to moment we're like at the mercy of like whatever waves are in that exact local area. But then the
Right.
two combined is sort of like that's parallel to like the like yeah, it's like we don't have complete free will and we don't have no free will. We have this combination of like decisions we can make and things that are in like more instinctual. But that was
Yeah.
what I but then I guess you have some thoughts on this, but maybe I'll just end with like I feel like the thing that is interesting to me is we know that some events are like not knowable in advance, like a quantum when a quantum thing in many states like collapses down to one state, you can't like know in advance, like it's pure probability. There's nothing you can do to like tell what the outcome's going to be. And so I feel
Mhm.
like if we say I am gonna do like this action for sure if this quantum thing collapses in like a certain state, and then you do the action, then I feel like that's evidence that like the universe itself seemingly didn't know what the outcome of this like quantum state was going to be, like this roll of the dice, but we decided in advance that for sure we're going to do a certain action if it's this outcome. Then
Right.
I feel like what we've done is we've demonstrated that like we have the ability to make a decision that no one, not even the universe, could know what if it was going to happen or not in advance, but we seemingly went through with that.
Right.
uh but then
Yeah,
of
I
course, yeah, there's
guess.
like I guess there's always a deeper layer of like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
I
I
guess like
yeah, it's interesting.
the way that I've been like understanding it, like since I've started learning about it, is kind of like anything, yeah, like anything in the future is our perception. Anything like currently happening is, yeah, just like what's happening, and then anything that has happened is like past. And then like in terms of like free will, it's like, yeah, like basically what you were saying, like it's like, yeah, I think there's sort of like, I guess like a higher academic understanding of like what free will means now or something, and like, or like it means a different thing than the layperson term of free will, which most people like would interpret as like their day-to-day decisions. But I guess like the free will in terms of like the academic discussion is like, um, yeah, like what determines the decisions that people make. And like I think we've pretty much, I guess, consolidated that like what influences people's decisions is like their previous experiences. So like you basically have like an algorithm
Mhm.
like written into you on like how you're going to behave or act, like based, yeah, based on like the stimulus that's happening at the moment
I guess so. I
and things
wonder,
like that.
what I wonder is like, do I have the ability to identify how, yeah, I guess this is like a looping question, but like it's like, could I identify what my experiences were and explicitly decide to like go against them? But then in that case, maybe my experiences led me to like make that decision. Like maybe there's a certain type of person that intentionally
Yeah.
tries to go against their own self.
Yeah, I think about that too. Because like I think like when I'm thinking, like sometimes when I make decisions about things, like I can I can like I can reasonably like predict which way it's gonna go in either direction. And like to me, like making that decision, or like if it's a really hard decision, then like it's difficult for me to comprehend that like that was always the decision I was going to make or something like that. Like that kind of feels like how people have been
Yeah.
saying like free will works, and
Well,
like
that's what I wonder about. Like what I was saying is like the closer in time you are, the more you know. Like if I know you're in your exact state right now, all your past experiences, and I have to predict the next instance, and I know all the inputs, I could do it. Like that's almost like you have no free will. Like you are your
right.
experiences. But yeah, it's like, but I can't control like these longer term decisions you make about placing yourself in like totally different environments, because we don't have a system to calculate like future states because they're unknown because of like quantum stuff. So then
Yeah.
it's like all you can do is predict this exact instant of time what the system will do, and that is like a guaranteed maybe thing because you know the exact state. But then even one time step away, it starts to diverge, which
Yeah.
I think that makes sense with like, yeah, it sort of answers a question of like, how is it possible that something could know like how you'll behave? Like the thing will
Yeah.
know how you're going to behave if it knows all the information, but as soon as you go into the future, there's such a lack of information that your behavior could widely like deviate based on
Yeah.
in the moment or something.
Yeah, and I think like when I was talking before about how like we like humans, I think, or some humans anyway, like will seek out opportunity of like of eustress, like for to create like I guess like like basically it feels like the people that are seeking out eustress are like writing their own code. So it's like to
Hmm.
me like that shifts my perspective of like uh when people are like talking about the free will discussion and like how it's like, oh, like yeah, it's like everything you do is going to be based off of like the previous experiences that you have. And it's like, well, like once you are determining your own experiences that you're going into, like isn't that changing the idea of free will? Because like now is it like it's kind of like I guess the idea there would be that like you going the like moment of you going to seek out that eustress is also determined by your previous experiences or something like that. But I feel like once you have
Mhm.
enough agency over like putting yourself into situations like so that you will make future decisions based off those experiences, then it becomes like a little bit more like agency defined and like free will feeling to me anyway.
Yeah, the more.
Like the idea of
Yeah.
like people doing volunteer hours and stuff like that. Like if you are like volunteering, then like usually people are volunteering so that they can like experience like meeting new people or like coming into new opportunity or something like that. And like I feel like that is almost like a display of free will. Like
Yeah.
the like conscious decision to place yourself in like a situation of like yeah like having to work for someone else or like yeah volunteering or serving other people like that is almost like a free will scenario, I think, in my mind anyway.
There's a little. That's an upgrade for your drill mod. You can replace your drill mod 1, which should be
Okay.
attached to your thing. We don't really.
Yeah.
We won't need it for a while because it'll only be useful for like the dirt that's near the core, which we still have to do like the next storm. But we can. You could like
does it
attach it.
uh
I guess you could
does
attach it
it
and deactivate it.
does it do the same things as like if I should I keep drill
Yeah.
mod 1 as
No,
well
it's just like
because
same exact, but goes through even
okay
harder. Yeah, I usually
yeah
leave it attached to my gun and then I toggle it off so that it doesn't use power. And then if ever I find dirt that I can't drill through, I turn it on like temporarily. But we probably
Mhm.
won't find that dirt. Yeah, this card is like, so this is, we're going to fill all these like soil canisters like many times as we drive so that we can continue to like pave the road. And
Okay.
then the second thing is like we need some power. So if the vehicle runs out of power, we have like power. But then also now, this thing on the back is like a large platform like the ones we have over here, where we're gonna
Mhm.
put like the storm machine on one end of it, and then the storm machine when it collects a sample will automatically like say if you had like a bunch of
Oh like it'll
plates,
put it
yeah,
onto the
yeah, it'll
platforms,
just
right?
jump off the machine and fill these platforms, and we can
Okay,
so that way because the
we won't have to
next
stand there and like taxi them back and forth, we could just drive it in.
yeah, and the amount of storm data that we need is like 32. So 32, like each of these pallets, like this is 8. So
Yeah.
if we fill this entire like on our way back, we'll basically have to have like the entire thing filled with storm data and then one of our backpacks, like 8 units on our backpack filled. Or we could yeah, I mean we just need we'll have at least like we can sort of drop everything, fill it with storm data, and then like drive back and then hopefully we'll have like a paved road that we can reuse on the way back so that we don't have to like try to also carry soil. But we could though,
Mhm.
because I guess if we both fill our backpacks, then we have one pallet of stuff to bring, and then the other two would be filled with storm data. And then here's our like our house. We can put the house and save when we get there. And yeah, and the storm machine takes 3 generators to like power it. But generators are easy to make, so if we can throw out these generators along the way and take stuff that we find and then just rebuild generators with compound when we get there.
Mhm. Okay. I'm gonna take a quick break. Like I'm
Yeah.
fine to if you want to keep playing, like I'm good to
Yeah,
play
also
for whenever.
I don't have a plan in terms of yeah, maybe like in 40 minutes I would end in like 40 minutes, I guess.
Okay.
But yeah, you can take a whatever length of break.
Okay, I'll be like 3 minutes or something or so. Okay. I'll be back. Bye.
Yeah.
I'm back.
Yeah, I don't see the red. The red storm is where we have to go. It's not on the compass, so it must be. Maybe we just drive in a certain direction, and then see if it eventually if it shows up.
Okay.
I put down a lot of beacons. Like if you open the compass, you can see like a ton of green beacons, like where our previous like storm was, and they kind of almost hide. Like you can't even see the storm itself because all these green beacons are like on it. But yeah. Oh yeah, I guess we don't want to take a space for like a seat. So
Yeah, I
if
can run
we
along the side.
there's a thing like there's a surfboard we can create, but we need an exo chip, and exo chips are in these like cases. So if we find like dynamite anywhere, like this red stick of dynamite, we could use it to blow up like an exo case, and then we can print like surfboards that like we can carry in our backpacks, which is kind of a cool. It's like the best kind of vehicle.
Okay. Do you know where the dynamite is usually found?
Usually in this thing, it's like there's like fake little Astroneer backpacks on the ground as if like other people have died there, and
Yeah.
they're hard to see, but you'll see like a faint grid of like 8 things, and if you pick them up, then maybe there's dynamite on it. So
Okay.
then, or sometimes like we'll find like a old space shuttle on the way, and there'll be dynamite like inside of it.
Okay.
Yeah, so I guess we'll just see like once we start driving, hopefully we see the storm show up on the compass.
Oh, I was just died.
Oh, some plant got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess hopefully you'll be able to run and grab. There's those pink balls at the base. You can use those pink balls to make them into glass, and then the glass you can make a oxygen container if you ever
Yeah.
need to make a container. Or maybe, yeah, in this case you could probably just run to your body.
Mhm.
Sometimes when I try to use like the paver for the car, it doesn't like pave in certain situations. Like I think it's something to do with a certain type of terrain in this area like doesn't allow like the paver to extend it or something. And I don't know if it's a bug. It seems kind of like a bug because sometimes like I'll be like paving a road, and then the road will just like all of a sudden refuse to be paved. But then I'll get out and I'll use my terrain tool and I can extend. And I wonder, like, I think it is like a glitch, but it means that sometimes it's slower because I have to keep like getting out and paving the road until the paver works again. But I had that happen in like I feel like it didn't happen at all, and then recently that I've been playing, so I feel like they changed something. But I guess it just adds to a bit of the fun and the chaos. Oh, there's a case, but we don't have any dynamite. And dynamite, you have to like use methane to make it. And like gases, even like the gas unlocks, like the thing you need to make gas is like always hacked and locked in this thing. So all you have to do is like find. You can only find methane. So basically, we're at the mercy of like if we find dynamite, then we can open the thing.
Yeah.
But maybe if we search around a bit more carefully, dynamite's actually not that rare in this because they've maybe adjusted things. Yeah, anything red is usually like this plant is red and it emits like poison gas in the local area. That's weird. The storms, like I don't see the storms on the compass. Hopefully that's not like maybe if we restarted the game they would show up either. It's like what are people? Or at least hopefully I like guessed right in terms of which direction to drive in.
Yeah.
It would be cool to find dynamite though, because if we both got surfboards, we could just like really quickly fly around the world and search for what we need to find.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's sulfur. Sulfur is the gas that we need to make dynamite.
Got a circuit model? This is weird.
Yeah, I've seen those.
Looks like a PlayStation or something.
Yeah, I collected like 5 of them in my first playthrough, and I don't know what they do. And I think I even asked on like the Astroneer forum. This thing, you can just put it in like the research chamber. It's hard to carry though. But if you collapse it, if you find like a packager or graphene, you can like collapse it, and then it only takes up 1 space. But usually I just leave it like on the road and then pick it up whenever. Let's see about dynamite. Dynamite takes explosive powder, which is 2 carbon and a sulfur. We could go back to base and make dynamite and then get the surfboards if we want. Oh, here's a pretty cool thing. This thing is free electricity. If you put this, it'll just give you like 1 unit of power forever at no cost.
Like in my backpack.
Yeah, if you have it anywhere on you.
Well.
Or you can just use it to power. It like has its own stand, as we see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so then basically, yeah, that's like the free power. And then if you found like, actually the oxygenator, let's see how we make that here. Yeah, if you make nanocarbon alloy, you can get like free oxygen. But the oxygenator machine takes power, but then yeah, if you have that thing, you can balance it out. Well, we could go back to base and make surfboards. Because we'll make dynamite and get surfboards.
Did we get dynamite? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, we
let's
have
do
we have the ingredients for dynamite.
Okay.
It's funny, if we didn't have like the compass and the markers, it would be so easy to get lost.
Mm-hmm.
And even still with them, if you don't put them down, it's like kind of easy. Especially like when I'm building like a road, like dropping the waypoints is the only way to like find where the road starts, because otherwise I know the general direction, but then I end up like missing the road that I created. Then I have to rebuild.
Mhm.
Yeah, one thing is that if you find multiple of these cases, you can like blow multiple of them open with one dynamite.
Uh,
So sometimes I might just like I'll come back for the car probably, or you could drive
well,
it
I can
over.
drive it. Yeah, I'm driving
Yeah,
it.
just watch others like holes are not so
Yeah.
bad. We can dig out, but there's a lot of
Yeah,
obstacles.
I'll try not to like fall to the middle of the planet or something.
Yeah, this increases the number of chips because usually a case will have like one and three chips, but with two cases we'll get like a good number of chips for just one stick of dynamite.
Uh,
Then we just need to come back here, basically. Yeah, if you want to try driving on the roads.
I've been watching recently, there's some YouTube channels that do like it's just like groups of people that go hiking, but they all bring like RC cars with them. So they have like little mini jeeps and stuff that will like off-road beside them while they go hiking. I got like a little cheap like RC car now too, so like in the spring I'm gonna go like RC car hiking probably.
Oh, this road needs repair. Yeah, that should be interesting. It'd be fun to like film an outing like that too and make a little like
Yeah.
just yeah, cuz seeing like cars off-roading, like someone off-roading in a car is this like cool
Yeah, it's like so
like neat.
badass.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
like when you zoom out it's really tiny and it's just like it's like cutified in comparison to the people that are like walking and
Yeah.
talking.
Yeah, it's like you usually it's like some yeah, like group of like people with like these huge cars around them and everybody's like, whoa, the cars are so cool, but like yeah, it's like zoom out and it's like all these huge people around this tiny car like clapping like yay. I guess you didn't bring the cases back.
No, we wouldn't have had enough space. So I have
Okay.
to build. Yeah, I just need to make some carbon by cooking vegetation.
Mhm.
Yeah, and we can print the surfboards like right from our backpacks. So as soon as we blow open the thing, we can like get the surfboard, and whenever you're like riding the surfboard, it takes like a unit of power. But that's what's
Mhm.
nice about your generator is like the only time like with that generator you make 1 unit of power. So only if you're like riding the surfboard and using like the wide mod and the drill mod, that's when like you'll drain in power. But sometimes
Yeah.
you could find like another generator of 1 unit. Uh, but yeah, that way like otherwise like yeah, I still have to use the strategy of like running a manual generator whenever I'm riding the surfboard if I don't want it to like run out.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, I have our dynamite printed. Do you
Okay.
do you want your own stick of dynamite? I'll have to.
Sure.
I could print another. Yeah, it just
Oh, I
depends
mean,
if we want to.
if we only need one, then we can just use the one. But
Yeah, we only need one. Yeah. I guess we could have a second one because it might be exciting to use. Or maybe we screw up the use of the first one. Yeah, once we get the surfboards, I guess we could end this session.
Okay. Yeah.
I guess I'm gonna walk into the shelter so that I know that I'll start there. Because I guess, yeah, if we get the surfboards and we end the session, then our car will be like over. At least we'll have, yeah, as long as we keep like oxygen in our backpack, then whenever we start the next session, we can just run over to the car and continue.
Okay.
But maybe we could do some exploration with our surfboards to find out where the actual storm is. Yeah, here's your dynamite.
Thanks.
Yeah, I guess we drive back same way.
Okay.
I need to find the actual road. Oh, yeah, I see it. Yeah, the surfboard is a really neat, like it was in the base game too, but it's a good idea because it's like a mode of like fast travel that you can just carry in your backpack in one unit.
Mm-hmm.
And so then, yeah, like it comes in handy a lot when like basically when we cache in all the storm data, we then have to like go all the way back to the storm just to place that like thing on the altar. And so then it's nice, like right now we have this truck vehicle, but it's cool to have like these fast little surfboards where if you just need to bring like one thing across the world, you can just get in the surfboard and like you can throw the surfboard in your backpack and then teleport and you still have it, which is better than like any other vehicle would have to be like left behind.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the dynamite, you can like stick the dynamite to an object like that, and then whenever I hold F, it'll count down from 3 and then it blows up.
Yeah. Cool.
And so these are the exo chips. Looks like we got like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
But if you take one and you start cycling through your backpack printer, you can make the hoverboard. And then basically, if the hoverboard's in your backpack and you double jump, like tap the spacebar twice, then it will activate it.
Okay. Yeah. Whoa. Oh yeah, it's like a little rocket board.
Yeah, once you if you go in one direction, it goes pretty fast.
That's cool. Then, I was expecting it to be kind of like shield surfing, where like there wasn't going to be a way to propel it, but that's cool.
Yeah, there's a jetpack we can get too, and then if you have like the hoverboard and the jetpack, it's pretty cool because then like the jetpack can go up and down and the hoverboard like goes fast, so then you can basically like fly, like with just 2 items in your backpack you can like kind of fly pretty easily.
Yeah,
around.
that's cool.
Well, now I don't know
how do I make it go away?
double jumping, double tap.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought I tried it, but it didn't. All right, do we want to save here then? And
yeah, we could basically save here, and I guess when we continue we'll be at the shelter, but we can run back over here. Or I plan to do like a little bit of, if we don't get a marker for the storm on our thing, I'll just probably like hoverboard ahead and try to find the storm for sure, and then we could
Okay.
continue with this truck.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll it'll save. We got I'll like save and quit right now, and then it'll end our session.
Okay.
I feel like we did a good job of having an interesting conversation and playing, which is sometimes hard. Like I feel like we accomplished, like we sort of dug our way out of the center of the planet and made like all the preparations for the next storm, while at the same time having like this like pretty interesting conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if it's just because we haven't talked in a while or something, or but yeah. I
Yeah.
think that was good. And like the conversation today too. Like, yeah. Yeah, I enjoy the conversations that we have because it feels like a lot of the time like we have the same like concerns and stuff like that. So like it feels
Yeah.
like a lot of our thoughts are like yeah, like along the same lines a lot of the time. So
Yeah,
it's
I keep
nice to have
thinking
like those conversations, yeah.
I feel like I want to like some of these topics I want to like consolidate all my thoughts into like a nicely written like piece and put it on a blog, but then I never get around to that. So at least it's
Yeah.
nice like that the benefit of this being like recorded too is that we have all these thoughts just like out there. It feels like finally like there's some documentation of all of these things that we think
Yeah.
that we can ourselves mostly for ourselves to like go back to if we want to like get more in
Yeah.
that headspace or something.
Yeah. I think it's like an interesting tool as well, like yeah, just to like witness, I guess, like the way that like people like change their minds and things like that too. Like that's been like something that I enjoy about like content creators and stuff that I watch is like just seeing I guess like their journey or like their life experience like happen as it's going. Like
Mm.
and I think it's like a pretty interesting thing to document because like the sort of stuff that I'm used to consuming is like stuff that is like really really thought about like a lot before it's put out like AAA games and like yeah, like New York Times best-selling novels, stuff like that. And like I feel like when you're somebody that like only produces or like consumes stuff like that, it might like remove people's understanding of like how people are constantly like changing and have like new thoughts or different thoughts and stuff too. So that's
Yeah.
kind of like why I like the live style format of like publishing things too, yeah.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I feel I can see like it feels like a lot of my friends like they want like facts and mainstream media and like authoritative like well researched things. But then I realize like the foundation that all of this stuff is on is kind of questionable, like the just the privilege of the West and the oppression of other countries and how like that's the norm, and so the mainstream media never mentions that as like something that could be changed if we wanted to. But then yeah, when you
Yeah.
see these like individual creators making live stuff, they often expose their humanity and they just question like why is it like this if everyone watching would not not want it to be or something. And
Yeah.
then it's almost
It
yeah, it
feels like
feels
more
like
of an open narrative. Yeah.
yeah, it's like new ideas that we can better understand what the situation is rather than like just reaffirming like the
Yeah.
current state
And
of
like
things.
also I think it also gives access as well to yeah, like to understanding how other people understand things too. Because like that's like it's one thing to understand how things work, but it's another thing to understand how the majority of the world believes things work. Because
Yeah,
like I think the majority belief of people is usually what affects how the planet actually operates, like regardless of what the truth is. So
yeah, it's
it's
true.
like yeah, so like I think it's an interesting and useful tool to have to just be able to hear people's voices and hear their understanding of how things work because it'll help like inform just like
Yeah.
everybody. Yeah, yeah. It's like talking is good. That's the moral, like or something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's funny how like the conclusion is so like should be so obvious to everyone that it's like wait, how it's like we're just concluding that like being nice to each other and talking is like
It's like good.
it's
Yeah.
like but all the other stuff felt very revolutionary, but then it's like but that's the literal answer is just like be nice.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I guess I think I'm free like next Sunday as well, so
Yeah, it should be. Yeah. I'll see you
all right.
then. Yeah. Okay,
All
bye.
right, bye. Love you.
Love you.